Hi, Dr. Becca with Del Mar Center for Behavioral Health here. I wanted to answer a question that I received via email from a parent that I think is a really great question and one that I get frequently. And the question is, why does my child want to do the same thing all the time? And why does he or she have such a hard time when our routine is thrown off? And here's my answer to that. Doing things repetitively in a lot of ways is a normal part of development. So if you think about or you remember back to when you had a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, and that child wanted to watch the same videos all the time, or wanted to have you read the same book all the time. Well, there's something safe about predictability. And the more we've been exposed to something, the more we come to understand what to expect and what's going to come next. So if I watch the same SpongeBob SquarePants movie over and over and over again, it actually becomes soothing because it's something that I can depend on, that I know what's going to happen next. And that can feel really good when the world around me is not so predictable as that SpongeBob movie. And while I'm giving that example of our kids, I think I can share a personal example too. So I watch reruns. It drives my husband up a wall, but I enjoy watching reruns. And I think it's because I don't have to think about it. I know what's going to happen next. There's not going to be any surprise. It feels safe. And the world around me doesn't always feel quite so predictable or safe. And so when I've spent a lot of time thinking about and doing things that are requiring me to generalize things that I've learned or extrapolate information from one setting or one study to something different or greater, sometimes my brain is pooped. And so being able to put on a rerun doesn't require much effort on my end. I don't have to think through things or pay attention to things. And so for our kids, as they're just learning to navigate the world, imagine how uncertain things must seem to them. As a fairly neurotypical, almost 37-year-old, the world surprises me at times. And sometimes I'm not sure or have a hard time making sense from certain things. And so I can only imagine that for our kids, particularly those who have anxiety or ASD, the same is true. And remember, there is that normal part of development where kids do want to read the same book or watch the same movie. And part of that is because it makes sense. And there's so many things that are new and different around them because they're still kind of new to the world that it makes those things, when we know what to expect, become even more important because there's so many other things happening that we don't always know what's going to happen. And so we have to constantly pay attention and look for signs and signals. And that's exhausting. It takes a lot of work. And so when my meal is served in the same way every day, or when my bedtime routine is the same in every day, I know what's going to happen next. That is very soothing and comforting. And then when there's a change to that, and I'm not totally sure what is going to happen next, that can be really hard because it can create some anxiety. It also can be that when we're not sure, we don't trust our ability to communicate with other people. And so our kids with ASD who have language impairments may not trust in their ability and may not have the skills to accurately express how they're thinking and feeling and what they want. New becomes even more scary because I don't know or trust that I'm going to be able to make my wants or needs or feelings known. So then I'm going to push back against new because new could be terrible. And I'm going to push away from new and towards the things that I know. And that's why for some kids, advance notice can be really helpful. So when they're going to have a different schedule the next day, telling them in advance, this is how your day is going to be different. Or if you watch the video that I did yesterday, about our new clinic space here in Jacksonville, that's part of the reason for that video. A new clinic space can be scary and different because I liked the old Del Mar. I knew what to expect at the old Del Mar. And now this is a new one, and what's going to be there and how are things going to be. So by highlighting, yes, there are things that are different and there are things that are the same, that hopefully helps make that a less scary process. It also gives our kids exposure to what it's going to look like and sound like when they get here, so they can remember, oh, I saw that on the video with Dr. Becca. And so that's kind of a long description, I think, but does talk a little bit about why our kids, those kids with ASD or anxiety, why they may balk against new or different or unknown things. Because unknown can be scary when we don't trust our ability to either predict what's going to happen next, or if we don't have the skill to express our wants and needs and feelings. And because it takes a lot more energy to be in a new setting, because we're constantly scanning it and trying to take in all that data and information and stimuli. When I'm in the same situation, it's less work. It's a way to, I hate to say be lazy because there's a judgment component to that, but to spend less energy. And as humans, I mean, back in our hunting and gathering days, we are programmed to spend as little energy as possible to hang on to that calories in the intake and that energy so that we have it if we need it to run or to protect ourselves. So if you see really big behaviors from our kids, a lot of times that behavior means I'm scared or I'm anxious. And usually that comes from because I don't know what's going to happen next. So some of our kids respond really well to advance warning when things are going to be different, or more information before something happens that's going to be new so they know what to expect. And I used our example from our video yesterday about our new Del Mar as an example. So I'm Dr. Becca with Del Mar Center for Behavioral Health. I hope that this video was helpful or interesting, and I really welcome all of the feedback that's left as comments on the videos on YouTube, or I love when you guys subscribe. That lets me know that this is information that's of interest. I also appreciate the emailed questions, and just like this one, I think it's one that many people have, and so hopefully creating the video has been helpful for everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.